Bases dropped on a new week of SDH AM. John here, you there. Thanks for hanging out with us as you always do. It's pretty packed with highlights and stuff this go around here on your Monday. Abe should be batting leadoff here in just a little bit. We'll talk about Atlanta United. We'll go over the stats. We got your highlights. We've got your post, Maddie's conversation with Ronnie Dyla. That'll be up as well. So we'll hear your highlights, conversation with Maddie and Ronnie Dyla, by the way. Belated happy birthday to you. And we'll get into that as well. We've got highlights of the twos. And it was a big night for Atlanta United 2 on Saturday after the Atlanta United match at the Mercedes-Benz. Atlanta United 2 at the Sportsplex at Matthews. I think it's the Mecklenburg County Sportsplex now or something like that. But big win for Atlanta United 2. We get to hear the highlights from that, from our perspective and from Apple TVs, because of technology and having to dip in and dip out and pick it up from a couple different ways. If you missed it, Tu's review is on the network. You can listen to extended highlights of Atlanta United 2 and Crown Legacy, and we go through all of the standings in the Eastern Conference and the West. We'll go for them here as well, but extended highlights, extended bracketology, extended standings, that's over on the network. However you download our stuff, you can pick it up there. So hour number one, it's the twos, it's the first team, it's Atlanta United and San Diego, Atlanta United 2 and Crown Legacy. We go over all that stuff. Bart joins us in hour number two. Couple of players on the weekend to talk about from USMNT who had standout performances. I can't remember if we really went into the U20s in depth. We may go there. Ballon d'Or is also later. We'll go over that. And there's an issue with one of the Ballon d'Or participants because he's going to be busy. Wasn't supposed to be busy, but he's going to be busy. We'll get into that. So that, all the news, all the notes, all the things, we'll get into all of that coming up in hour number two. We've got cards and calls. I think it was fairly calm this weekend in Major League Soccer when it came to cards and calls and reviews and such. There were a couple of things that I wanted to get into with Bart specifically, and we also have some other news at a USL Championship where matches were suspended because of things that were alleged, and we'll get into all that stuff. And we'll get you set up for the week as well. You may go ahead and do that while we're waiting for Abe, and we can sit there and let you know what is going on here on a Reaction Monday. We always love to see what's going on in your world here in the Twitch pitch. Morning, David, and morning, Abby, and good morning, Ropes. Okay, well, I mean, so David wants to know about Abe's chicken nugget story. Okay, so since that's in the table, we may just go ahead and lead off with that since it's a Monday. Okay, here's the week as we know it. Coming up after we're done today, I don't know if you know the story or not, but in certain circles in Europe, we have another Cinderella story that developing out of Sweden. And it is an opportunity for a huge upset in the league where Mjällby is this close to winning the league. They had a 10-point lead. And here's your context for those that may not know about what's going on in the Swedish First Division. Mjällby is a village that has 1,935 people. The stadium that they play in seats 1,525. The municipality itself has about 17,000 folks. And so you have this little village of Mjällby, and it is a 51% league, no millionaires, so the fans own 51%, and it's a 51-49 split. So you have the Stockholm derbies. We know they're nuts. But right now, Mjällby is on the verge of winning the league with a population of less than 2,000. So we're going to get into that. We're catching up with the head coach this morning off air, and you end up with a really cool story, and that's going to be on a later edition of The Roots. And so if you've missed The Roots so far, we've had visits to Statesboro. We've had visits to Drogheda United in Ireland. We've had visits to Walsall outside of Birmingham, England. And so those are the stories that you're going to be getting on The Roots. So Mjolbe's interview is going to be after we go off the air today. Then that'll be on a future episode of The Roots where we find out what's going on in the Allsvenskan, where a population less than 2,000 are going to be this close to winning the title in that league. And so that's going to be really cool stuff coming up here later this morning that starts our week off. And speaking of starting our week off, it's that time where he is properly hydrated. We check on the amount of miles that he has clocked on the weekend, and we find out if he is, in fact, in good walking condition. We bring in Abe and find out what's going on in Abe's mind. So how are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. Ready to kick off another week. For once, Lady United had a better performance than the Atlanta Falcons, and one of them will get talked about this fine day on your podcast, and another one will get talked about on the air on 92.9. Unfortunately, over the course of the day.
Yeah. Well, shoot, it's a Monday. Anything's possible. Folks might be talking about both here on the show.
Yeah.
Before we proceed, I don't know if you had a chance to check the Twitch pitch before you wandered in, but David wants to know about your chicken nugget story. What is this, sir? What am I getting myself into?
Yeah, this goes years back. But when I worked up in DC at SiriusXM, there was this mythological theory of the 100 Nugget Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually think it's as crazy as it sounded back then. But the idea was, can anyone eat 100 chicken McNuggets from McDonald's in 24 hours? It wasn't even in one sitting. It was in 24 hours.
Okay.
And I didn't set out to tackle this and take it down. But here is the story. There was a massive snowstorm in DC. We are stuck in a hotel. They put us up in a hotel across from work. And so from there, there wasn't a lot of food options. And I'm trying to remember the sandwich place. It may have been like a Panera or something. They ran out of food.
Oh, no.
They didn't have food. And the way my shift worked, because we were all working extra shifts for people who couldn't stay at the hotel or couldn't get in, whatever.
Yeah, that's normal.
And so I think I came off like a 10 or 11 hour shift, and it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm starving. And all we have is McDonald's. And so I go over there, I get a 20-piece McNuggets, and I plow through that, and like it didn't even touch my stomach. And I'm just as hungry after 20 as I am before I had any. So I get another 20 and take that down, and then you start doing the math. I'm like, third of the way there, let's consider whether or not we want to go after this. So I end up going there for dinner and ordering the other 60. I don't eat all the other 60 at dinner, but you can't get McNuggets in the morning. So for this to work, and because of the timing of my shift, I wouldn't have been able to get more McNuggets for lunch the next day because the 24 hours would have passed and all blah, blah, blah. So anyways, I eventually eat the next, 60 nuggets with multiple hours to spare. I had 6 or 7 hours on the back end, still able to go there. Chicken McNuggets overnight, not a great food the next morning. They do become drier than they already are. And so, but we got it done. And so I had 100 chicken McNuggets. I completed the 100 nugget challenge, and then I got name dropped on a very popular podcast earlier this week about it.
Yes, and for those that know how to track down those kinds of things, it was a conversation with Katie Nolan. When this got dropped, and so first and foremost, David, thank you for reminding me that I had to ask about this, because we saw it and we were like, ooh. And Abe gets dropped nationally, and so we had to bring that up. So, so what was your sauce, by the way?
Well, I would switch it around. There was honey mustard, there was barbecue, there was sweet and sour, and then there was just straight honey. So it kind of depended time of day. Like the morning, I wanted the honey, little sweet action. But yeah, ranch bar. I mean, I used every sauce you could think of to kind of differentiate the taste. So I think ranch, honey mustard, barbecue, sweet and sour, and honey were the 5 that I used at various times.
Yeah, I mean, I've been more of a barbecue guy when I would have those McNuggets. The others,
You don't want barbecue at like 5:30 in the morning.
well, yeah, you do.
Just give me the honey at that point.
See, I can't. Breakfast for me and those kinds. It's like, look, if I got a go-to sauce and I'm not a honey guy, maybe the sweet and sour, or
Yeah.
come up with something else myself. But yeah, it's like just go ahead and hit it. But I would imagine, and I don't, I do not have your McNugget expertise, but I would imagine that you have to be very, very careful when it comes to reheating, because it kind of would taste very tinny, I believe, over time. It's just that very metallic taste if it's not treated well.
I don't believe I used a microwave. I think
Okay. Wow.
well, now I didn't put them in the fridge either.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
were just, I think I just had room temperature McNuggets overnight and into the morning.
Yeah. And that's the key. That's the key thing, is that if you put it in the fridge, then you really are in danger of the constitution of that nugget going sideways on you, and then it really tastes bad, and then it's just off the rails bad. But I think the room temperature, I think that's a good idea. Like if you put it in the microwave just to keep it away from everybody on the counter, and you just put it in there, but you don't activate the microwave.
Correct.
I think you're good there. And so that's kind of how I would. I'm right there with you when it comes to those things. So we had to ask, and like I said, I'm glad that David reminded me about this, to go ahead and lay it all out, because yes, there were inquiring minds, and we had to ask about your habit with the McNuggets in a snowstorm. So, okay. So here's Ropes. So Ropes' question here: how are room temperature McNuggets different from the ones you get from McDonald's? I mean, it's a matter of time and temperature. It's not really different. It's just that I think they hold their constitution better if they're room temperature, instead of putting them in the fridge where they get cold, and then you're doing cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, and you're trying to figure out the right temperature. It's like Chinese food.
Well, look, it's gonna dry out over time, no matter what. Like the McNuggets are gonna become drier and drier the longer they're away from whatever they were initially fried to become. The difference there is, do they hold crispiness at any point? Once they get soggy, they become much more difficult to dip and hold together and chomp down. Any leftover crispiness, I think, is very a pleasant find in the box. And so, I try and avoid getting them too soggy by heating and letting them cool and reheating. They're going to get dry either way. So there's no way to avoid that.
Right. And so I think that's the key. Yeah. And well, I mean, in Abby's, they're never hot to begin with. I mean, they are when they hand them to you, if it's done correctly. They're heat lamped. That much we do know. They're heat lamped, rarely hot. I guess that's the designation. Does that make sense?
I just want them warm. I don't want them hot to where I have to give myself time before I take down the first 10 to 12. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to have to think, is this one too hot to put in my mouth at this moment? I want to just kind of dig in and I mean, you're popping them in like it's popcorn. I mean, you're eating. You're not taking bites of a McNugget. The whole McNugget is going down.
Okay, so that's where we're different. I actually would take bites.
Oh no, I dip it in something and the whole thing goes down, and then we're on to the next. I mean, the pace at the beginning, John. Again, it started with 20. It turned into 40 pretty quickly. I mean, I'm probably taking down every 8 seconds a new nugget. I mean, it's in, gone, in. Like, it's just, you got to remember, I hadn't eaten in probably 13 hours based on the shift, and I was hungry.
Okay, all right, just checking. I mean, it's good, because we had the the McNugget. How do we phrase it? It's just the protocol for having McNuggets and making sure that they're eaten. But I do understand the idea of being hungry and basically damn the torpedoes, and I'm just going to start plowing away. I do understand that. Okay. So yes, it's somewhere back in the Katie Nolan archive from like the last week or so that Abe was mentioned nationally and the McNugget Challenge. So you're a braver man than I. That's all I can say. Atlanta United and San Diego. And I was having a conversation after the match with someone in Southern California who is very close to the team. And he said that both Chucky Lozano and Anders Dreyer do not like playing on turf. You could kind of see that. And Atlanta United in this match, they had a lot of the higher end play. But once again, it's a mistake that is created early on that creates an opportunity. And mistake, clinical, San Diego scores 1-0, and then Atlanta United has to fight back one more time for the shared result at 1-1 by the end of 90 minutes.
Yeah, well, let me just start there. Like that's an absolutely nonsense comment. Like they don't like playing on turf. Like you're a professional player. You've played on turf at many different levels over the course of your career, and you're going to continue to be playing on turf over like it's just a nonsense comment. It's a bad excuse, quite honestly. That being said, I was very pleased with the performance of Atlanta United, especially in certain moments. You talk about a bad giveaway. Alzate kind of stumbles, loses his footing, and kind of misplaces the ball a bit. From there to turn over an easy back post goal, and that's that. I thought United responded well. We've definitely seen, especially the week prior against Columbus, we've seen a moment turn into a stretch, turn into a massive deficit, and they responded well in this one. They give up the goal, but again, one goal can turn into 2, 3, 4, and again, sometimes 5 very quickly. Didn't happen this time around. I think that was a big difference from what we saw, obviously, against Columbus. But I also just think you were the better squad. Not to say that you deserve to win, because at some point you get punished for not finishing your chances. But I thought at the minimum a draw was a fair result for Atlanta United, and I think you should be pleased with the draw. Obviously, I know this is MLS, and at any point you're going to say win your home games, try and eke out a point on the road, and blah 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 blah. Look, this is one of the best teams in MLS you're taking on in San Diego. This is a team that needed 3 points on Saturday to stay where they were in the supporter shield standing. Now there's a slight drop off. This is a team that needed 3 points to make sure that they were clear in the Western Conference, and now they've got to deal with that aspect of it. I think you're relatively pleased with the result overall, and a couple of things that did stand out to me. Obviously, the return of Bartosz Slisz there in the midfield. When he was gone, 5 goals in 25 minutes. When he's back, and there wasn't anything he could do to avoid the one goal that was given up, but relatively fair play there. Alexei Miranchuk gets the start. Hopefully that bone bruise is healed, and I was sitting there. He's just so good. I don't even know if we talk about it enough. And I think with a better finished product above him, it would be even more so. But Alexei Miranchuk is just so darn good in the attacking midfield. And it is a pleasure to watch. And, we started calling him Maestro at times, and we didn't necessarily see the results of those, but he really is. It's really a joy to watch. And then you go with something different in the back in Juan Barracol. And, I've been sitting here and saying, boy, I really like this Mihai and Stian pairing. They had back-to-back clean sheets with Hibbert behind them. And they've looked really good. I'm like, how does Barracol fit into this conversation? He comes in and plays very well. He has a very important, you called it a kick save, a lunging boot deflection. If that pass gets through, it's a goal. And with the respect to what Hibbert has been doing, if that pass gets through, it's probably a goal. And so a last-ditch lunge there prevents that. And I think he was very solid throughout beyond just that singular moment. And I think Hibbert had an interesting match where he wasn't really asked to do much. And then in 20 minutes or 25 minutes, he had to make 3 or 4 really big saves. He almost got Olympic code, an incredible feat of athleticism to parry it away from what would have been maybe not upper 90 back post, but certainly side netting back post.
Yep.
He drops well on a shot that he was screened and did not see until late. A nice recovery on a flick header. Hibbert went from having to make no saves essentially in the first 65, 70 minutes to having to come up big to secure the result. And I thought he performed very well in those moments. And so you're continually gaining confidence in him. And I know, look, I don't know what's going to be the story for Brad Guzan after this year. And I know they've talked about looking for the alpha, looking for a number one. I don't know what their considerations are, what they were expected to be considering Hibbert for.
Right.
I think he's playing himself into the discussion of we need to be, very highly considering this guy as a one. And we'll look at other guys and other potentials and all that. But he has certainly put himself into the conversation. Maybe it was a situation where we'll run him out there. And if he's not ready, at least we know he's not ready. That certainly has not been the discussion. He has played very well. And so, look, I think it was a pretty good performance, especially considering, again, what you had just come off of. And so I think you'll take it. I think I haven't talked about Jamal Tiare. I think he was outstanding. He seems to get tripped over his own feet a couple of times as he approaches the box. Part of that was Dos Santos coming out and making things difficult. But at the same time, you go watch, and Miggy's the official goal scorer here. Nice penalty kick. But it's all the work done by Jamal Tiare in that moment. And just a brilliant bit of trickery on Dos Santos there to force the penalty. It's a clear penalty. There's no other discussion to be had. But it's also just a penalty not every striker will draw. And so really nice moments from TRA. And then we talked about this, John. I want my penalty taker to have confidence. I don't care if the goalie guesses right or wrong. This is not about sending you the right way. This is about my quality, not yours. And that's what Miggy has done now for the second take in a row. Pick a spot, hit it with power, hit it with pace, hit it with accuracy. And the keeper can dive the right way. It will not matter. That's what happened. That's my favorite type of penalty spot taker. And Miggy absolutely buried it. So props to him on that as well. A couple of chances, could have had another goal or two and potentially won this game. But I don't think the result was unfair to be a draw versus 3 points.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple of different talking points, and I know that your time is limited, obviously. So let me go with Barakal and Gregerson, and we'll get into stats and all the other things with the starting lineup after your departure, sir. For Barakal, 5 clearances on the night, 3 picks, 2 total tackles, 3 for 5 on his duels. He was 45 touches for one of your center backs, 45 touches, 91% passing, only 3 passes did not make their mark in 32 attempts, 29 to 32 passing, 4 of 7 on long balls from your center back. And that's another thing, too, in getting out of a jam going up against San Diego. Stian Gregerson had a 7.4, so did Ronald. We'll get into that in a bit. San Diego wants you to play in a phone booth. They want to make sure that they want to have everything compressed into the middle channels, the inner left to inner right, and they want to take everything in between. They want you to play in there. And I thought it was an opportunity for Atlanta because it would play into their strengths working the outside, whether it was Amador on the left or Alexi on the right or whomever. And you got to see those opportunities create chances where Saba had a chance inside the 6. Miggy had that great piece of imagination that ends up going off the crossbar. So working from the outside in for Atlanta seemed to give them their opportunities where they defensively kept San Diego in that phone booth that they constructed themselves and kept them in there all match long.
Yeah, the other thing, John, was, and we don't always see this from Atlanta United. In fact, I would say we have not for the majority of the season, but a lot of long balls turned dangerous in this one for Atlanta United. A lot of balls over the top to whoever. It may have been Saba on the right or TRA himself centrally, but they really played that style very aggressively. And to be fair, the guys along the back line, the guys in the midfield were playing pristine balls. And I'm sure some of them fell short and you had to start defending again time after time. But a lot of them found homes or found space. And even if they didn't connect, they at least pushed the ball back up the field. But a lot of them did connect and create all those chances that we saw. for Atlanta United. It just felt comfortable. Like you just weren't threatened. And again, for the majority of the game, right? You give up the one goal and that happens. It's a mistake. It can't happen, but it did, whatever. But there's no build to that. There's no defending that moment. It happened. And again, with Hibbert, there were a couple of chances late, but through the majority of this game, this was not a San Diego team. Came in first in the Western Conference in goals scored with 55. May have been tied for a top MLS in that number with, I want to say, Orlando maybe. This is not a team that was feeling dangerous. Again, the moment here or there for Hibbert late did not feel dangerous. They were not building and getting into the box and looking dangerous. We talked about Barakal. Yes, he had to make that play to keep that one ball from hitting the corner of the box that I believe would have turned into a goal. It's a game-saving play in that moment. But I thought the defense and the midfield was very strong, and you talked about it. Lozano was getting frustrated throughout. Dreyer ultimately did put one home in the turnover, but he was essentially a non-factor through the majority of his touches. And so, again, you're stuck comparing it to what the week prior was.
Yeah.
If you go back to the 2 weeks before that, right, when you had back-to-back clean sheets, albeit one of them was a non-competitive attempt by Toronto, but you do clean sheet Nashville as well. Then you have the 5 goals, and you're like, boy, I thought the defense was trending upwards, completely fell apart in the first half, and more specifically in those 25 minutes. Now you rebound to today, and the defense felt like it was back on its thing. And you're starting to get to a part of the season as well with some new players. And Ronnie Dyla admitted this. We're going to roll a couple of new names, and Juan was one of the guys that he wanted to see. They've all got something to prove. The first steps of 2026 are these last 5-6 games of 2025. I think Barakal, and he probably needs to have this mindset, and I think Hibbert is approaching it the same way. I'm auditioning for my role next year right now. And so I think Barakal is going to provide his very best, same as Hibbert, same as Alzate, and anyone else you might see that hasn't necessarily been a mainstay. They're looking for some things to try and get a head start on next season, and that's what you're doing now. It's just unfortunate you didn't have these sorts of defensive efforts earlier in the year.
All right, so what's your week as we get ready for the next match for Atlanta United? What are you up to between now and the weekend, sir?
I mean, I got my own soccer game tonight, so looking forward to that. Shana Tova to all my fellows out there. We'll do some festivities tonight and tomorrow and all that. Yeah, I got a track workout Wednesday, I got a long run Friday, and then we'll gear up for a day of footy, both American college and MLS action on Saturday. So looking forward to it.
Absolutely, my friend. As always, it's great to see and have you bat leadoff for us for the entire week, and we will catch up with you and we will hear you. Hopefully no McNugget chasing between now and Saturday, my friend. Stay hydrated, stay healthy. We'll catch up with you soon. Thanks, as always, for dropping by.
You got it, John. Thanks for having me.
There goes Abe Gordon, everybody. So Abe is going to go run like 19 miles before he has to do his update and do his stuff. So that's the rundown with Abe. It's with Abe batting leadoff, the week is now officially underway. So once again, just to give you an idea as to what's going on, we're going to go highlights and post-game for Atlanta United and the Twos. That'll lead us to 10 o'clock. Bart will come in. We do have some USMNT stuff to get into, player performances from the weekend. I want to go over the U20 roster a little bit. I do want to go over Ballon d'Or with him a little bit. And then we do have cards and calls mainly from the Premier League because, like I said, I can't remember anything really that stood out as an oh, my God moment from Major League Soccer this weekend. Tomorrow, KCD is going to join us at 9:15. Casey White, she'll go over what happened in college, and she will go over the Wonder Twins game that was the leadoff match with Major League Soccer this past weekend. She and Jessica Charman called Charlotte and NYC. We'll go over that matchup. We'll go over college and anything else that's on her mind. Jason Stevens, we're taping that interview once again. This week's topic with Jason is going to be multi-club organizations that we may or may not have full concept of in the European continent. I think it's going to be France and Italy and working that way to let you know what's going on with multi-club organizations in the European footprint. We talked about them with their base in the Premier League and such. Now we're going to work on what's going on with MCOs in Europe and how it kind of impacts everything going on there. So that's the conversation that we're going to have with Jason Stevens later today because he's in London, and we'll run it in tomorrow's show. Also on the board, once again, we're chasing after some guests, and I'm thinking that we might have, how's that for a double possible? Chris Nugent, the head coach for Chattanooga FC, on Wednesday as we get ready for Atlanta United 2 and Chattanooga FC on the midweek. So that one, we'll also hear from Jose Silva and an appointed player from Atlanta United. So we'll hear those conversations from Jose Silva, Atlanta United 2, and hopefully, probably, possibly Chris Nugent as they're getting ready to drive down I-75 to take on the Twos on Wednesday. It's the home finale regular season for Atlanta United 2. And 2 of the final 3 matches for the Twos this season are against Chattanooga FC. Wednesday and decision day, October the 5th at Fort Finley. So we'll have, obviously, we'll have both matches on the network, but we will hear on Wednesday from Jose Silva and from the Twos, and hopefully from Chris Nugent, because like I said, we are efforting a good time to catch up with him for this big rivalry matchup. Yesterday, Chattanooga FC did not score in regulation again. They go to PKs, and Core gets the extra point in PKs. And like I said, when we go into the highlights with the Twos, we'll go over the standings and let you know what's going on there when it comes to the breakdown of everything in MLS Next Pro. It's a mess. A lot of teams, not a lot of space when it comes to MLS Next Pro in the East and the West, but we'll go over Atlanta United 2 just to let you know, once again, Wednesday, 7 o'clock pregame, 7:33 kick from the Fraction, home finale, Atlanta United 2, Chattanooga FC. Two's got to have it. Match in hand, 4 points out of a playoff spot right now. They win, they're 1 point out of the playoffs with 2 matches to go. This weekend, Sunday, it's a trip to Bridgeview to take on Chicago Fire 2. Fire are in the playoffs in the East, don't know the where. So it's an important one for them. Then the reverse fixture, Atlanta United 2, Chattanooga FC, October 5th. Everything kicks off at the same time in the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. And so we'll obviously be up there at Fort Finley for the regular season finale. We'll see where things stand. 2 o'clock Sunday kick, by the way, at Bridgeview for Atlanta United 2 and Chicago Fire 2. Everything in the Eastern Conference, 1 o'clock. Everything in the Eastern Conference is 1 o'clock on Sunday, October the 5th. So we'll find out what's going on, but it starts Wednesday with Atlanta United 2 and Chattanooga FC. Twos have to hold serve, set everything up for the trip to Bridgeview, get points in Bridgeview, and then you have the reverse fixture on decision day with Chattanooga FC. So that's where things are with Atlanta United 2, but we'll get into a bit more in depth when it comes to standings and stuff coming up in just a little bit. So that's Wednesday. Wednesday, we prep for the Twos. Hopefully, Dylan Butler can join us at 10 o'clock as well as the busiest man in the Northeast. Nino and Nico, your power hour, joining us once again on Thursday from 10 and 10:30. Friday, once again, hopefully our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring. As always, it's great to catch up with them at 9:30, and our guest from Major League Soccer joining us at 10 o'clock from MLS and Apple TV. So that is the early rundown of what to anticipate this week, in addition to all the other interviews that we have set up for Roots and for the Red Clay Soccer Report. Both of those are powered by our friends at Nofo Brewing. We'll take the tour around everything in the colleges that are the colleges that you may not be paying a whole lot of time and attention to. We'll let you know what's going on there, check on storylines, all the things. So that is where we are. That is the week that is planned at the moment when it comes to everything going on with Atlanta United and us here at SDH and SDH AM. Keep an eye out for training ground dispatches with Maddie and Jason as they're up at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground. They're going to have some content with the Twos that's going to be coming out later this week as well. All of that starts with their taping today. Taping today, being released through the week. Set your notifications with SDH. You'll be caught up with everything on the first team and on the Twos. All right, let's go through what had happened in the matchups on the weekend. We'll start with Atlanta United. With Atlanta United and San Diego. Like I said, we'll go over stats in a bit. So here is the call of the San Diego goal in the 30s. Once again, it's Mike and Jason on the call, 92.9 the game, and the Odyssey app.
When he won the ball back, he was looking for the ball over the top, but Sabo wasn't looking.
Oh, no. Here's a giveaway by Alzate in the box, centered and driven into the net by Dreyer off the pass by Lozano, and Atlanta United has given up way too many of those goals off giveaways this year.
92.9 the game in the Odyssey app. That's Mike and Jason. And then you go from there to being even Steven for most of the time. But here is, let me see if I can find, hang on, there's the PK and that. And okay, so yeah, let's do it this way. Let's go ahead and we'll do all the 92.9 the game highlights, and then we'll get into Apple TV with Evan Weston and Ian Joy. Ian was fired up, by the way. Here's the PK call, the equalizer, once again with Mike and Jason, 92.9 the game in the Odyssey app.
Hands on hips for Miguel Almiron, who's standing at the edge of the 18. He gets the whistle. Looking at the ball, taking a deep breath, looking up, looking back at the ball and approaching. Miguel up to it, strikes it, scoop to it, score! Dos Santos guessing correctly, diving to his right, but Miggy drives it past his right hand into the net, and we're level at the hour mark.
All right, so that was how it all laid itself out from a 92.9 the game perspective. Now let's, what did I do? Did I label it the same way twice? I think I might have. Okay, so here is the PK call with Evan and Ian, 92.9 the game in the Odyssey app. It's the full sequence with Jamal going inside the 18 and getting taken down by CJ Dos Santos. Here was how Evan and Ian called it, once again, courtesy of our friends at Apple TV and Major League Soccer.
San Diego getting some changes ready. Looks like 3 of them as Atlanta come forward again. Here's Chiare on the backside, taken out by Dos Santos, penalty.
Well, quality play. It really is from Chiare, gambling here. CJ Dos Santos comes out into...
The 17s to their feet. Almiron sends it past Dos Santos.
Has to make contact with the ball. He doesn't. It is a penalty kick. And because of the power, not only the accuracy, that's what gets past.
And there you go. That is Evan and Ian on the call, once again, from our friends at Apple TV. So that is how it's all laid out with those. And once again, I'm trying to see what I might have missed and what I might have mislabeled, because I labeled things, of course, the same way because of things happening with the twos and things that happened with the first team and things that aired on Apple TV. So, of course, I labeled them both the same way. Of course I did. All right. So after the match, Maddie caught up with head coach Ronnie Dyla. Here's their conversation, once again, courtesy of the Off the Woodwork podcast section, 92.9 the game.
All right, Coach, what did you make of the team's response, especially coming off of that loss from last week?
I think we played a good game today, very good. Again, we have to win these kind of games. We are much more chances than them. And we give also away too easy the goal. So, but the effort, organization, the discipline was very, very good. And we come to so many situations around the 16, and we need to just be more accurate and be more effective in this situation. Then we're going to win a lot of football games.
Are you happy with the way the team defended tonight, especially being very compact and not allowing for San Diego to get into the attack?
Yeah, that's very similar to the Columbus game. There's a team that is use a lot of players in the build-up. I think in second half we go really after them and we open them up so many times, and we should have more in the end. But as I said, it was very good discipline in the team today.
I want to ask too, defensively as well, 2 players, Stian Gregerson and Juan Berrocal as well in the back line. What did you make of their performance tonight?
They were top, very top. They did a fantastic job today.
Building on this performance heading into next week, back on the road for 3 straight, what are some things you need to see continue and then continue to build off this performance?
I think again today we have 6, 7, 8 goal chances. I don't have, and we scored 1, and that's good. And they had 2, 3 maybe, and that's when you get that kind of difference, then you will also get get points. So we have to just keep on doing what we're doing because we are dominant over the other team.
Ronnie Dyla and Matty Cruz after Atlanta United and the 1-1 draw. So let's get into the statistics here and the stat breakdown. From our friends at SofaScore, we were mentioning the long balls for Atlanta United, 22 of 44, 50% on long balls for them, 28 of 51 for San Diego FC. So starting lineup for Atlanta United in this one. And the same individual that I talked to discussing the notion of turf and having a dislike for it with Chucky Lozano and Anders Dreyer, basically also admitted that Stian Gregerson, Juan Barracol pretty much took Chucky Lozano's lunch money over the full 90 or the full time that he was on the match. So starting lineup, Jaden Hibbert, left to right in the 4-2-3-1, Amador, Barracol, Gregerson, and Hernandez. Your two in front of them, Steven Alzate and Bart Sleesh. Three in the attack, it was Miggy Miranchuk and Saba, and Jamal up top. Jamal registering a 7.9 on the afternoon. We mentioned a couple of different players, so let me get into their stats for you. Jaden Hibbert on the day, 90 minutes, 3 saves for Jaden Hibbert, 1 successful run out, 1 save from inside the 18. That was the, let's see, that Dryers was outside of 22. So anyway, 1 save inside the 18, 29 touches for Jaden Hibbert, 14 of 22 passing at 64%. 4 long balls completed for Jaden Hibbert, by the way. 4 of 11, 2 clearances, and that was your rundown for Jaden Hibbert. So Jaden comes up big in the second half to keep things at 1-1. The Dreyer shot, specifically in traffic, is what sticks in my mind as one of the moments of the match, considering that you were at 1-1 and Dreyer from about 21 or 2 is coming in and wants to set up his left foot, and there are some bodies screening Hibbert from the flight of the ball, and he only picks the ball up late and has to make the big reaction save going to his right and sending it away for an eventual San Diego corner. But that's one of the saves that sticks in my mind, what we got to see from Jaden Hibbert on the afternoon. We mentioned Juan Barracol statistics as he was paired with Stian Gregerson, but Anemi High getting a bit of a rest, and you're seeing what Juan Barracol brings to the table. Now that he was paired with Stian Gregerson, and Stian, when he's healthy, you get to see it. 1 clear, 2 picks, 3 total tackles, 5 of 7 on his ground duels, 5 of 8 on the day. He did not win his only aerial duel. 5, let's see, he was fouled once, 54 touches, accurate passing, 39 of 43. So basically, both of your center backs were clocking a pass percentage accuracy in the low 90s. And it was, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was 7 incomplete passes with the 2 of them on the afternoon. 85. So I think they were 78 of 85 combined. So that's what you got to see from Barracol and Gregerson on the day. 2 key passes from Stian Gregerson, 2 for 4 on long balls, 1 for 1 on the dribble for Stian on the afternoon. Ronald Hernandez also at the back. He went 75 minutes before Ronnie Dyla decided to go with Brooks to try to go a little bit more offensively in the final 15 minutes. 3 clearances for Ronald Hernandez, 2 total tackles. Ronald 4 for 5 on his duels on the day. Fouled once, 57 touches, 77% passing, 36 of 47. 1 key pass, 2 for 2 on his long balls. 1 big chance created for Ronald on the afternoon. The return of Bart Sleesh. Bart goes 90 minutes, 70 touches, 89% passing, 48 of 54. 2 key passes, 1 long ball, 1 big chance created, 2 block shots, 4 for 9 on his duels, fouled twice, 2 clearances, 1 block, 2 picks, 2 tackles, 2 dribbles passed. All those different categories that Bart Sleesh registers on a daily basis. Got to see them all back once again against San Diego FC. Then we mentioned Jamal, just to give you the Jamal numbers as well. And we'll mention Alexi and Miggy. Obviously, Miggy with the goal scored at a 7.7. XG plus XA, so the X whole thing, 1.56 with the goal, 54 touches, 30 of 39 passing, 77%. 2 key passes, 1 long ball, 1 shot on target, or 2 shots on target, 1 shot off, 1 blocked, 1 for 2 on the dribble, 1 time hit the woodwork. We mentioned that one in the 60s, 1 big chance missed, 2 of 6 on his ground duels, 1 is only aerial duel, so he was 3 of 7 on the day. Fouled once, once he was offside. So that's Miggy's numbers on the day. Miranchuk at a 7.3. He goes 84 minutes, subbed off for Tristan Muyumba for the stretch run. 50 touches, 34-36 passing. 2 incompletions on 36 passes for Alexei Miranchuk at 94%. 2 key passes, 2 crosses, 3 long balls, 1 shot blocked, 1 for 1 on the dribble, 1 a ground duel, and he was offside twice as he was trying to create offensively. Then you end up with Jamal in the afternoon, and Jamal goes 76 minutes. ATLUTD comes in for the final 15. Jamal had a .41, drew the penalty, 3 shots on target, 2 shots off, 1 penalty, 25 touches, 9 of 12 passing at 75%. 5 of 7 on his duels, fouled 3 times. Fouled 3 times, Jamal, and that was Jamal's play on the afternoon at a 7.9. Subs, Brooks Lennon came in for Ronald, gave you 15. Luke Brennan came in for Saba, gave you 14. ATLUTD came in at the same time in that substitution pattern. Tristan Muyumba goes 6+, coming in for Alexei Miranchuk. So those were your numbers on the day for Atlanta United in this mix. Stats on the afternoon. San Diego at 64% possession. And Atlanta basically was like, all right, fine. On you, and you want to do whatever. And San Diego really wasn't a whole lot because, once again, remember, San Diego, as we've said, San Diego wants everything in that middle section. If you want to divide the field up into like 5 separate channels: left, right, inside left, inside right, middle. They want those middle 3. They want to play in a phone booth. They want to make sure that everything is in those center 3 sections, the 3 center sections. And Atlanta United kept them in those 3 sections, didn't really let them create to the outside a whole lot. Kept everything confined for San Diego. Really didn't give Anders Dreyer and Chucky Lozano a whole lot of room to operate. Frustrated them with the back line all afternoon long. And I can actually say afternoon. So it was a frustrating day for Anders Dreyer and for Chucky Lozano. So that's what you were looking for. And there wasn't really a whole lot of participation, shall we say, to try to help out Dreyer and Lozano on occasion. So Dreyer on the day had a 7.9. 90 minutes, had the goal, .63, 3 shots on target, 72 touches, 40 of 55, passing at 73%. 2 key passes, 2 long balls, 1 big chance created. 22 times Anders Dreyer lost possession. 22. 1 foul, 1 offside, 1 clear, and 1 pick. So that was Anders Dreyer's day. 22 times losing possession. Amal Pellegrino really did not have a day that had a whole lot of markers attached to it. He punched a 6.4. Chucky goes 90, substituted for Mighton at the end. 1 shot on target, 2 shots off, 2 attempts on the dribble successful out of 3, 1 big chance missed, 59 touches, 20 of 31, 65% passing. 2 key passes, 1 cross, 1 long ball, 1 big chance created, 7 of 13 on his duels. Chucky Lozano lost possession 26 times. So with the defense that Atlanta United had in those middle 3 sections, Lozano and Dreyer lose possession 48 times in that matchup against Atlanta United. 48 times they were dispossessed. Chucky fouled 4 times and had 1 tackle along the way. The other guy that we had a lot of focus on was Jeppe Tverskov as the point guard for them. 124 touches for Jeppe Tverskov to try to create things from the middle. 124 touches. I cannot remember the last time that I have had somebody referenced with 124 touches in a match. Everything goes to Tverskov, the spoke in the wheel, whatever you want to call it. He's the point guard of that offense. 105 out of 111 passing for Tverskov, 95%. 7 of 8 on long balls. 5 of 11 on his duels. He lost possession 8 times. So it wasn't what Tverskov was doing. It was the end product once he got rid of the ball. 46 times possession was lost. Chucky Lozano and Anders Dreyer. Jeppe Tverskov is ridiculous. Fouled 3 times, 3 clearances, 2 total tackles, and 3 dribbles passed. And you could also kind of see what San Diego was doing defensively. Yes, they were in a 4-3-3, but what they would do is, and Atlanta United fans remember Chris McVay from his time at both DC and with Messi and friends. What you saw them do was, knowing that Atlanta's speed down the left-hand side was superior, because if Dreyer is forward, that means that Valakari and, in theory, McVay would be the ones that you're chasing after. You knew that you could get past McVay. What you saw San Diego do was kind of turn the dial a little bit. McVay went forward a lot and was almost like a fourth midfielder or a fourth attacker heading forward down the right. And so that meant that Manu Dua and Patty McNair dialed over a spot. And so that protected McVay, and that kind of shaded everything that one direction to kind of prevent Atlanta from working down the left-hand side, or at least trying to counteract that speed. Yeah, so you saw McVay go forward a lot. And that meant that Manu Dua and Patty McNair slid over, and Bombino slid over. If you had Luca Bombino in your fantasy team early on this season, good pick for you. I did, but I got rid of him. So bad idea for me. But you saw how San Diego kind of turned the dial to protect McVay and any kind of attack down the left-hand side. But by the end of the day, it was a 1-1 draw for Atlanta United and San Diego FC. And so what we were looking at when it came to goals scored with San Diego now 56 goals scored. They are tied for second in goals scored in the Western Conference. LAFC with the 4 that they had last night, 3 of them from Denny Bouanga. And I captained Bouanga, by the way, on my fantasy team. LAFC gets the big win. LAFC is dangerous. LAFC is big dangerous right now. I'm looking at them as possibly turning everything upside down in the Western Conference. We're looking at San Diego. We're looking at Vancouver. I'm not looking at Minnesota. I've got more questions than answers. But LAFC adding Yeonmin Son and Denny Bouanga, that is a crazy combination for them right now. Crazy combination for the two of them. And for LAFC. Seattle 5 points back. So it's looking like San Diego, Vancouver, Minnesota, and LA. LA and Vancouver have 2 matches in hand. So it might be something akin to LAFC coming into the 3. But we'll see what happens in the last couple of weeks. But LAFC last night, big win. Denny Bouanga, a hat trick. Yeonmin Son got the other. Expect that a lot in the run-in for LAFC. But goals scored, LAFC with 57. San Diego, Vancouver now each with 56. In the Eastern Conference, Chicago with 57. Orlando with 58. Messi and friends with 60. So you're looking, 1, 2, tied for third in Major League Soccer in goals scored at 57. So that's what you're staring at with LAFC. And it was a bit of an interesting one last night. RSL, you thought in the reverse fixture, even though they were missing one of their forwards up top from a red card, you thought that when it was tied at 1, everything was going to be, a bit of a challenge at BMO or the final 45 minutes. Pick up your number 2 Ticonderoga pencil, sit there and wave it in the air and go, not so fast, my friend. Rough and tumble times for RSL. And it was, once again, Denny Bouanga getting assists from Son and a lot of other folks. There was one goal where Son could have gotten a hockey assist, I think, if they wanted to register it that way. But yes, great 1-2. Son plays it backwards a good 5 feet, then goes forward from the assist up to Bouanga, who's on a breakaway and scores. Textbook look from LAFC. They're dangerous. And that was reinforced again last night. Okay, let's get into the twos while we're here. Once again, remember. You can go listen to the twos review on the network, and that one is up and running. It is the rundown of everything that happened, extended highlights, extended standings in MLS Next Pro, and it's because we need it. Atlanta United 2 goes up to Crown Legacy, goes up to Matthews, needing full points. Once again, we're dealing with the matches in hand part being in the midweek. So this is a weekend match. Got to keep the beat, keep the pace with everybody else. Early on, Atlanta United 2 gets into a lead, and we can kind of work this as a bit of a tease for when we finish up with Bart. But to kind of lead things into Atlanta United 2 and our conversation there, here's the goal from Timothy Weah as he continues his hot streak. Once again, courtesy of the SDH Network. Two familiar voices on the call. You might know them as Maddie and Jason.
Bold and aggressive, John O'Ransom making the play. Dominic Chonkwi with a flick through to Santi Pita. Pita trying to get through Ajiman. Does. Squares it inside to Weah. Weah top of the 18. Back to the left foot. Weah with the shot. Goal! 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 Atlanta United 2. Patrick Weah is on fire. He gives Atlanta the lead in the 13th minute.
Let's go back to the start of the play. Dominic Chonkwi with the back heel. He connects to Santi Pita, who doesn't give up on the play. He gets dispossessed for a second, but no player knows where that ball's going. Pita tracks it. He stays with it the entire time. He's grabbed. He's pulled. It takes a weird deflection. He holds on. He's reading that Weah's right there, and Weah, just with the calm and cool, he takes the left-footed shot that just falls right into the back of the net from the post.
Weah, when he received that pass from Pita, he had three defenders between him and the goal. He took a big step to the left and said, I'm hitting this no matter what. Back through the grain, through a defender, no chance for Longenecker. 1-0 Atlanta in the 13th minute.
And there it is, the call with Maddie and Jason. So it was a 1-0 lead, and they would hang on. We'll have more highlights coming up after we talk to Bart here. Now that we have turned into hour number 2. That's what we do here as we discuss things. Time to go and catch up with the man behind the SoccerForUSPod. It is Bart Keeler, and I don't know if we're talking West Virginia football or not. I think that might just be avoided.
There wasn't a game Saturday, John.
Okay, well there you go. See, it just
like the Falcons didn't play on Sunday.
Yeah, just kind of blocked out. You know, just
I didn't watch it, so I don't know.
Yeah, if you didn't watch it, was there in fact a game? I guess is probably the best way to phrase it.
Exactly. I can confirm my knees are very shaky this morning.
Yeah.
Is that because of the music or because I had to stand for like 12 hours over the weekend?
Yeah.
You take your pick.
Yeah, I mean, I know folks that went to that particular concert and the concert series, and I think they were reminded of their mortality by going there. Just because of how long you had to stand and all of those other things that are attached to hanging out and being in a concert series over multiple days and long hours, and I would imagine less than economical prices to try and stay hydrated.
Well, luckily, John, they do have hydrating stations at the festival, so you can bring in a water bottle if you want. So that's nice. I took advantage of that. Because the beer prices, if you wanted to stay hydrated that way, were
I don't want to know. I'm just so. Did you get to see who it was that you were wanting to see at the particular concert venue / series, sir?
I saw all the artists that I was excited to see. Yes.
Okay, just checking because I know that a lot of folks there were a lot of different names that were there and a lot of different folks that could be attracted by walking in the door, and so that was a big opportunity to have your knees continue to shake for an entire weekend there with that particular festival. Okay,
probably for the rest of the week. Let's be honest, John.
Yes, to be perfectly honest. Okay, I wanted to start off, and this was kind of something that we stumbled into last week, and it's kind of looking at the players that are either normally a part of the USMNT or being considered outside looking in, trying to sit there and figure out, okay, here's this guy, he's trying to work his way into all the conversations that are there. You end up with Joe Scally standing out. You have Malik Tillman scoring for Bayer Leverkusen. You have Christian Pulisic doing really well. Tanner Tessman was getting high marks on the weekend. Gio Reyna ends up on the bench for the last 10 minutes. So here's the rundown of what we have in addition to those. Tyler Adams, goalless draw, Bournemouth and Newcastle. Once again, three-way tie with Arsenal and Spurs for second. Chris Richards, Crystal Palace, now in fifth, unbeaten, 2-1 win at West Ham. Of course, everybody beats West Ham, and we got to keep an eye on Graham Potter when it comes to occupation watch. Brendan Aronson starts on the front line for Leeds. They get a 3-1 win at Wolves. Jedi did not dress for Fulham, raising his doubts about availability for the October window. James Sands. St. Pauli loses their first match of the year, losing at Stuttgart, dropping into a tie for fourth. James Sands, quote, one of the best things for us has been our defense, but we didn't have that. We lost a lot of duels. France, Valerian Balogun sat on the bench for Monaco. They crushed Metz. Tim Weah expected to play in Le Classique, which is supposed to be today, which has a knock-on effect with the Ballon d'Or because forecasts of heavy storms in the south of France meant that the pitch was unplayable, and it got moved to today. Italy, Weston McKennie, both starting in the midweek in Champions League. McKennie doesn't play. Musa limited to a 3-minute cameo. Gazzetta dello Sport on Christian Pulisic returns to the starting lineup and is the absolute star of the game. 2 goals and an assist. Johnny sidelined with an ankle. Oscar Gluck, 88th minute equalizer. PSV's winless streak at home is now 3. Ajax gets a clumsy foul from Serginho Dest. Pepe's best chances set up by Esmir Bayraktarovic, who made his Eredivisie appearance, entering in the 38th for Ruben van Bommel. That's a lot of dudes, dude.
A lot of dudes, especially those playing overseas. Mixed bag. I think last week was a little more positive. If you're looking at it from a USMNT perspective, I think for the most part, you're just happy guys are playing and not getting injured. Those that didn't play, a little concerning. You mentioned Jedi. He, I think, is just getting back to whatever form he was. Remember, the dude played a gazillion minutes last year. I think that's plus or minus 1,000.
Yes.
And I think he is feeling those knock-on effects. Obviously, he had a procedure at the end of the season to fix whatever was broken in his legs. Not broken, but, I guess coming apart.
Dinged, damaged, yes.
Yeah. So I think that is more of he's getting back into it. Remember, it's only September. We have only played 5 Premier League matches. Balogun on the bench, not fantastic, but maybe that's just a rest thing. Remember, he did play in both games of the international window. Then they had Champions League during the midweek, which as anyone from Manchester City will tell you, if you play Champions League in the midweek, you obviously cannot be expected to perform whatsoever. And you must bunker for all 90 minutes, despite that being apparently anti-football when Arsenal does it, but it's beautiful and great and smart when Manchester City does it. But I think the 2 highlights of the weekend, John, Tanner Tessman, and then obviously Christian Pulisic, who 2 goals on the weekend, returned triumphantly to that starting 11 for Milan. And typical of every, I think, American in Serie A, they blame him for all the problems when he's not playing, but all of a sudden when he plays, he's the best player on the field.
Yeah. It's strange how that happens. I mean, that's just, it's the battle of the extremes. I mean, come on. You've got to be fantastic each and every single time you're out there. And it is, once again, if you're not, then you stink. If you are, it's what's expected. And look at this, how crazy this was awesome. And, all those things. So, I mean,
crazy from a league from a country that can't qualify for a World Cup. But, what do I know? Sorry.
Yeah. So you had those particular moments on the weekend. You had on the women's side, you ended up with Lindsay Heaps once again doing Lindsay Heaps kind of things. Lyon is perfect, gets their 2-0 win, got the first goal, and it set an attendance record. Oh, okay, sorry, separate match. Never mind. So you have Lindsay Heaps scoring her goal to make it the first goal on the board. Lily Johannes scores in Lyon's season opening win over Marseille 2 weeks before. Corbin Albert replaced Heaps in the 61st. Next weekend, Lyon gets PSG after their win over Nantes. Eva Gaetino started for PSG. Crystal Dunn did not dress. Now, in England, 8,665 women's game attendance record at Lee Sports Village for Manchester United. Fallon Tullis-Joyce, big save on Olivia Smith. Emily Fox starts for Arsenal in the tie that has both teams on 7 points. Kat Macario played the first 45 for Chelsea. Alyssa Thompson came on at the half. They won their 3rd in a row. Celeste Borrell started for Leicester as well. So there's Celeste Borrell. That's a name that I've not heard about any equation at all under any circumstance, and now she's starting for Leicester.
Yeah. Well, John, okay. Yes. Another American is starting in the WSL. That's great. I think she, as with like Ava Gaetino, I'm not sure that she factors in too much. Now, Ava, if she continues to play for PSG, absolutely could. I think she kind of dipped in and out of that lineup a lot last year, and her form also kind of went up and down. So I'm very curious if she can, because I mean, while I personally think we have a center back pairing that we should be focused on for the U.S. women's national team, there's nothing wrong with looking at who's 2 and 3 on the depth chart behind both of those starting center backs. And it is, to me, a good thing to just have more women playing in good leagues in Europe. I think that's always the key. But Leicester City's not exactly a great team, because back home we had some ladies doing some work too, and I think that's always the conundrum with fans who come to the USWNT from the MNT side, is they think, oh, they're in Europe, they must be good. And while I agree that if you're playing for Arsenal or Chelsea or Lyon, you're probably very good at soccer, playing for Leicester is not the same as playing for even Utah Royals. And I think that distinction does need to be kind of held a little bit when you're evaluating these players.
Yeah. Just because the league has a shiny name attached doesn't.
Hold on. I saw Ropes just congratulate Villa for scoring a goal. So
yes.
Sorry.
Yes. 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 So there's there's Ropes this morning. Abby with a question having to do with the festival. You're not allowed to bring one of those like golf tournament triangle seats?
No, they don't allow those types of chairs. Now, we did bring a blanket and we sat on so the park, obviously, if you've been to Piedmont Park, it changed this year from Central to Piedmont Park. They have the hill as you go down into the big field, and so we kind of just camped out on the top of the hill with our blankets, and so we got to sit, but you also want to stand when your band is playing. So yeah, it's just fun. But yeah, no chairs. They don't want that. I think it's mostly a safety issue. When you have, I mean, it was full, Abby. It was several thousand people crammed into that space, and you don't want to have people in chairs if there's a potential emergency.
Yes. Ballon d'Or, who you think gets it on the men's side? Does it go to Dembele? Is it Lamine Yamal? Is it somebody
For
else?
me,
yeah.
I think it's Dembele, because PSG winning Champions League is pretty important. Now, I do think that Lamine Yamal I think he should be considered. But for me, I think it's Dembele, just because of the PSG phenomenon last year.
And it was rescheduled for tonight because of bad weather, the matchup we're talking about with PSG. So PSG and Marseille rescheduled for Monday night, kicking off at the same time as the Ballon d'Or ceremonies in Paris. So keep an eye out on stuff about 2:30 this afternoon. And we'll see if Dembele's in the lineup going up against Marseille. If he's there, what happens? Is there something virtual? Those kinds of things. Dembele, Doué, João Neves should be at the Théâtre de Châtelet, along with Bradley Barcola. They're injured and unavailable. So does Dembele do the team thing, be there for the team and be there for the squad, or does he go to the Ballon d'Or? That's probably the bigger question when it comes to the 30 nominees on the men's side. Women's side, it's the top 50. And this, there is a discussion that while you have Bonmati possibly going for a treble, it could go to somebody else. It could be Alexia Putellas, could be Lucy Bronze, Hannah Hampton, Alessia Russo, Leah Williamson, Chloe Kelly. Where are you going?
I'm going with Bonmati's Spanish teammate, Mariana Caldente, obviously winning Champions League with Arsenal. If not her, Alessia Russo, Champions League winner, Euros winner. I think it's got to be one of those two for a number of reasons. I personally, and I bias right here.
Shock.
I think Alessia Russo winning Champions League with Arsenal, being such an important player for that team all year, plus winning the Women's Euro this past summer. I think those two things combined, as also being a leading scorer, is very important. Now, on the flip side, Caldente, who made a final and won Champions League, and being such a pivotal player, and for Arsenal specifically, being the player that is the reason I think that they ended up winning because they needed someone like her in midfield. Also, I think you could argue she was one of the better players for Spain over the summer too. I think it's one of those two. I don't. Now, yes, Putellas and Bonmati lost 2 finals this summer, but I don't think that is where I would go. I would go with either Caldente or Russo. I hope the voters look past Barcelona's little magic thing they do where they don't play anyone important until they get to the Champions League knockout rounds. Hopefully they can look past that and see true quality in someone from Arsenal.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. The Arsenal conversations continue. Cards and calls. That's a.
Also, I do agree with. I don't know who it actually is in the chat, but Wiley Coyote.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't pick up my season ticket renewal gift because I didn't go to the game Saturday because I was at Shaky Knees. Like that. Sorry, Atlanta United. We spent a lot more money for these particular tickets for this weekend than we did on an individual Atlanta United ticket, and we're gonna go to Shaky Knees. It's a much more, especially right now, enjoyable experience for us.
Yeah.
I think it's a little kind of not customer servicey to force me to have to come to a game to pick up the renewal when, especially one of the complaints over you're raising season ticket prices when the gifts have been a little lackluster in recent years, and now you're making us go pick it up because you're too cheap to ship it out, despite, again, raising prices on us. I don't know, man. Not a great look for a club that doesn't have a lot of great looks right now, but we can talk about cards and calls now.
Yeah. Wiley will spoil the gift if you want.
I don't know what it is, and I don't know if I'll ever get one. That's the question. I mean, I won't be here for the final game. I'll be well, I don't know if it's a good thing, but I'll be in Orlando watching West Virginia play football.
You and
so
UCF?
I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
You and UCF?
But yeah, spoil it for me. I don't care.
Okay, so go ahead and spoil it, Wiley. Put it in the timeline. Okay, cards and calls. And there were a couple that kind of stood out. It was a quiet weekend in Major League Soccer. That was the big thing, is that I didn't really hear about any kind of outrage upon outrage when it came to anything going on with Major League Soccer. So Major League Soccer.
You didn't see anything come across my timeline also during the Atlanta United game. So I think that's pretty impressive that there wasn't anything stand out that made us somehow be the reason that we didn't beat San Diego at home.
That was it was a stout defensive effort. They were very, very disciplined and kept San Diego pretty much in check for the entire time. And I mentioned how many times that Dreyer and Chucky Lozano were dispossessed in that group. So, all right. So here's cards and calls. We'll start with the Manchester United, and apparently, and this might be more just a philosophical thing than actually looking at a call. Bruno Fernandes gives Manchester United the lead, times his run. Dorgu sends a pass, and the question was it Fernandes or Benjamin Sesko that were offside? And so apparently, given offside, VAR upheld the decision last month when Lyle Foster had an opportunity for Burnley, and so they go to the semi-automated the semi-automated offside technology, and it looks like the sleeves of both Foster and Fernandes are both highlighted in a similar way, but Fernandes is onside according to the technology. And then there was a question about Sesko, who was offside, didn't do anything to become active. So this has like multiple steps to it. Apparently, it looks like the semi-automated technology is still trying to figure itself out in a couple of places, especially when you have individuals who are tightly marked or at least tightly paired together. That seems to be issue number one with this thing.
Well, look, I think we have to admit this is not the Hawkeye technology that is used in tennis and volleyball, where lines are stagnant. The offside line constantly shifts and moves and jumps, depending on a lot of things. In this particular incident, though, I'm okay with the end result because I think this is what fans have been wanting outside of the Premier League, which is if you can't tell by semi-automatic technology that a player was offside or onside, then whatever the call is should be the call, right? And I think that's where we land here. is that I think Bruno Fernandes is neither onside nor offside. He exists in a space in between the two because we cannot determine if he was or was not.
He's in
There's some
purgatory.
yeah, there's some philosophizing for you the day before the rapture. Let's look at those Sheshko, where again I go back to my argument that we had last week.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me this man wasn't involved in active play? And that is still the philosophical, the epistemological issue I have with this rule as a whole, is when we look at the laws of the game, this is interpreted and handed, and I say epistemological because it is about teachings from higher ups to lowers, and we're going through the chain of command as if we were to hear this from the Pope.
Yes.
We don't look at this as being part of active play. And again, I don't know about you, John, but that defender looks like he's defending Benjamin Sheshko. I don't know. I mean, he's also trying to defend two people.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think to me, you're looking at it from a chicken and egg type question, right?
Okay.
Is this offside because he's involved in active play, or is he not offside because he's not involved in active play? But is he forcing the defender? Maybe forcing is the wrong word, but is he causing the defender to defend him by being in an offside position?
Is he encouraging a decision, I guess?
Eliciting a response.
Okay.
Or should the defender go, well, he's offside, I shouldn't worry about that?
So that's
and that's just again, I have an issue with this because as a player, I find it hard to believe that the defender is just going, well, he's offside, I'm not going to worry about it.
Right. Yeah. And so,
especially in today's day and age of VAR, where we do hold our calls.
Mm-hmm.
So what if it had gone to Sheshko and he scores, and the defender goes, well, he's offside, and then you look back and go, oh crap, and there's some lazy left back is not getting up. Left back's not getting up the field in time, and all of a sudden he's onside. And so that's kind of the issue that I just have with this particular ruling when it comes to the laws of the game and offside. Is I think involved in active play is a very tightly defined term, and I get that we're doing that to try to encourage more goal scoring and allow offensive series of play to continue, but it's
So nothing like an epistemological lesson here on Monday, and I'm glad I could actually
both epistemological and episcopal, another E word, because that does deal with the lineage of the saints and the teachings. But again, we're getting deep into theology on not only happy, I forget the terminology, happy Jewish New Year, Abby. I forget the exact term. Rosh Hashanah. There we go. Shana Tova, Rosh Hashanah today.
Yep.
And then tomorrow, obviously, I don't know, John, if you're on TikTok, but TikTok's been predicting the rapture tomorrow. So if you see a bunch of people floating up into space, they're not Atlanta United fans.
Okay. Well, I was not aware of said rapture. Okay.
Yeah.
So I will try and be as raptured as possible, and I will observe rapture.
If you drink enough Mountain Dew, you might just float up anyway. So.
Well, there are other things that take care of that. Red card, Manchester United, Chelsea on Robert Sanchez. This was an early shock for a lot of folks. 4th minute, Peter Banks wasting no time. Red card Dogso checked by VAR. Sanchez on Mbumo, and it's kept.
Yeah, this is interesting, John, because in the VAR review piece that Dale Johnson puts out, he talks about another incident earlier this year where a red card was not given for a very similar type of foul.
It was the James Trafford Spurs. Yeah,
correct. Yeah. I think the difference here is pretty clearly defined of distance to ball, right? So we talk about the D's of dog, so defenders, distance, direction, and distance. So are there defenders back there? it's a little, it's a little shaky, but he is very clearly past the last two center backs and is one-on-one with the goalkeeper. So when the foul is committed, he is the last defender. Distance to goal, well, John, it happens, 20 yards, 19 and a half, 18 and a half yards out?
Sanchez is inside the arc for basically a
Right.
moment of contact for those that haven't seen the play.
Yeah, so you're no more than 22 yards away from goal. So distance to goal, check. Now direction of play, John, it looks like he's going straight toward goal. I don't know, maybe I could be blind, but he's running on at goal.
Yeah, I think that it's safe to say that Mbeumo is in a straight line, and it appears that Sanchez might not necessarily be square with Mbeumo, and that's why he has his right leg extended in an attempt to try to stop him from going past what would be his right shoulder.
Correct. Now, the last one is distance to the ball. So basically, are you reasonably able to then capitalize on this onset opportunity, right? Denying of an obvious goal scoring opportunity, not obvious goal. Well, I think it's fair to say that if he's not kicked at the knee, he probably is getting onto this. Now, that line, that word, that phrase, then brings me to my next point. So I think the dog-so thing is covered. To me, it's a very clear dog-so red card. But this looks like it could also be serious foul play, and I think he's a little lucky that this was not reviewed for that also, because I don't know if that would have necessarily meant anything for him playing 2 weeks from now, but I don't know, that leg looks mighty high up on the leg. The fouling leg looks really high up on the attacking leg from the goalkeeper there. That he was a little lucky that it was just dog-so. I think if dog-so wouldn't have been awarded, it's likely this would have gone to VAR for a serious foul play red card as well. Because holy cow, that his foot is right up on his knee, and so I think this is completely correct on a red card dog-so because of all the things we talked about, the 4 Ds being met. But if he hadn't, I think this may be possibly looked at for he would have been sent off anyway.
Jarrett Smith now joining us from the Mountain Time Zone. And Jarrett, were you up last night watching the reverse fixture with RSL and LAFC?
Yep, I mean, most of it, and then I gave up because Dennis Boyonga showed up. Like, RSL had an absolute, frozen rope goal in the first 20 minutes. Looked really fun. Held serve till halftime, and then right before the halftime, they called a 1-2 combo from Boyonga and Son, and then it all just kind of got worse from there. They're not out of the playoffs, but the picture is fading fast, just because it's a similar situation to what Atlanta had last year. That's a lot. It's not so much the points they need to win out and they need help. It's the bodies between you and where you need to be. They've kind of done what Atlanta did last year, in that they struggled to start the year, had a really good stretch in the summer, and now they've kind of tapered off a bit, but also that LAFC team is just not really fair right now, which, I don't know, man. For me, some of it is also that I don't really care for Cherundolo's teams, but that's also just me. But at the same time, who am I to argue with the fact that he's going out there and blasting people into oblivion with Dennis Boyonga, who's the first player ever to rack 20 goals in 3 straight years? And now you added Sonny to that, and they're kind of terrifying, and especially in a playoff situation where things get cagey and teams don't open up as much, they can turn it into a bit of a boat race, and they're fast as hell.
It's like, what have you done with LAFC?
Yeah. Well, no, this is who LAFC has been while Dolo has been there, though. The Bob Bradley era is long dead. LAFC they're not going to dominate you with the ball.
No.
And it's not like when Bob Bradley was dropping everyone into floodwaters and just flooding the zone and trying to obliterate you with just pressure on pressure on pressure. This version will sit back. They don't need the ball. They will counter you to death. Part of it is, for me, also is that Steve Cherundolo bitches like nobody's business when things don't go his way, and I am frequently exhausted by it. Last year being the most obvious example. I guess it was last year or the year after, or the year before. They went through a rough stretch after CONCACAF, and well, he bitched up a storm like something else, man. Other teams also went through rough stretches of the CONCACAF, but Steve Cherundolo has yet to find a situation in which he cannot make himself the one for which you should feel sorry. That being said, that team is really, really good.
Mm-hmm. They are. A couple of other cards and calls, and this more judgment stuff, Bart, really quickly. Mark Cucurella leaves his feet to make a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is, okay, yeah, it's low and into the ball rather than the opponent. Everybody was thinking, okay, Cucurella gets a yellow for leaving his feet. When you are officiating and you see the leaving feet and doing airborne slide tackles, what are your guidelines when it looks to what do folks need to look at when they see defenders leave their feet and try to either win possession or do a slide tackle that way?
Well, as soon as you leave your feet, you're putting yourself into the referee's mind of going, oh, this could be bad.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just my general advice to young players or players anywhere is if you leave your feet, things are probably not going to go great for you unless you get it absolutely right. I don't think this is a red card because it is at least he's aiming at the ball.
Yeah.
Right. He gets the timing mostly right. It's not like he is so late that, the trailing let is being he's a little late.
Yeah.
Sure. That's why he gets called for the foul.
But it's not Mahoras Pottas is what we're looking.
Right. But he is mostly aimed at the ball. Or at least, he's not going high up on the leg. He, lower shin to ball is about the same height. So in that regard, it's not serious foul play because it's not endangering the safety of an opponent, but it is absolutely a reckless challenge. And it is absolutely a yellow card. But yeah, if you leave your feet in an attempt to win a ball like this, expect that the referee is on high alert because we don't like to see that. There's a reason that in many adult leagues, you're not allowed to do it, period. Mainly it's for your own safety, but it's also for the safety of the other people out there.
We're too old to be doing that shit, man.
Yeah. Listen, over the age of 25, I don't suggest anyone make a slide tackle like this.
No! And to your point, because I've seen you have to ref our league. Most of us are too old to be trying to even slide tackle anyway. Not even for it's a matter of safety, but also, man, the older we get, our coordination starts to fail. The chances of spiking yourself increase substantially.
Mm-hmm.
And more importantly, Jarrett, do you want to continue to play in the match because you're going to be down there for a good 5 minutes? A word. You can't get up from that quickly like that
Correct. Anymore. Yeah, I'm gonna have to lay there for a minute and think about my existence. Think about why I did that and work up the energy to unfold this gigantic lawn chair of bad coordination.
Yes. Handball these days. I know
we're talking about this again.
Tonali, Tonali, and once again the judgments therein. Tonali's inside the area. The ball makes contact with Sandro Tonali for Newcastle. His hand is across his body, and it makes contact with him there, and they let it go in the goalless draw with Newcastle and Bournemouth. How much leeway do we need to give and when it comes to things like this? Because literally Tonali's looking away, his left hand is going up for defense, the ball looks like it hits him in the still, it looks like it hits him in the hand as he's trying to, I'm guessing, spin away from contact. And so is this incidental or the hand is still kind of within the silhouette of the body even though it's not directly down at his side? What are we looking at here?
So the reason why this is absolutely not a handball is twofold. One, what you just described, this is very much a don't get hit in the face type of move. And the reason it's that way is because this was a odd deflection off of his own teammate. This was not a defensive action like he's trying to stop a shot by any stretch. This is after the play is they put a ball into the box. His own teammate tries to head it away. I think, head it away, and it goes right into basically his and he is just trying to turn away and not get hit.
It hits him in his hand as he's going like this. Yeah.
But his hand is really not outside the silhouette of the body anyway. So I think this was a much ado about nothing. I don't even think a lot of the Bournemouth players were like super upset about it because it looked very much like someone just defending themselves or not trying to get hit in the face, which is a natural movement, John. Protecting your face is, believe it or not, a natural response that the body does produce. And I think we sometimes think that athletes are supposed to just not have a natural response when a ball is flying at their face.
Yeah, and then one more, the yanking of the jersey, and that was something that I wanted to.
Oh, well, look, John. Okay, go through it because I gotta go through it.
Well, it literally it's you're in a moment where you're trying to make sure that folks aren't getting away from you. And it is literally you are pulling the back of a jersey almost like you're trying to track down a running back in American football, and he's gone past you, and you're like, hey, not so fast, get back here, kind of a thing. And it comes from Bournemouth and Newcastle. Again, Livramento plays across. Voltamad, heavy touch, goes to ground looking for a penalty for a shirt pull from Diakite, but the ref isn't interested. So Voltamad, Diakite is basically grabbing Voltamad's jersey at about the left elbow. And so, Voltamad's trying to go forward. Diakite's grabbing the left arm. What are you going at here?
Well, I would understand if this were called a penalty kick. I could understand this being called a foul because I think there's very clear and obvious shirt in hand moment.
Yes, right.
However, I think when VAR looks at this, they don't see the clear and obvious error because there is an obvious embellishment from the attacker. And was this ball even within a playable distance for him is another question entirely. So I think when VAR takes a look at this, looking at a clear and obvious error of not calling a penalty kick, I think they erred on the side of not an error. Trusting a little bit the judgment of the official on the field to go, no, that was a little bit of an embellishment. And by a little bit, I mean a lot of an embellishment. Because it doesn't help that somehow both of his hands are in the air, afterward, and he's falling to the ground after somehow also being held back. So I think that doesn't help his case. And I'm not saying that it's not a foul. I'm saying when you look at this in the way of, I know, John, you're double negatives. Your mother would be so proud.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a foul, but when you're evaluating this through the lens of VAR for a penalty kick, I think the clear and obvious error does not meet that because, again, I think they're leaning on the official saw what he saw on the field as being a little bit of a slight embellishment, if not a full embellishment. And so to that end, I think they go, ref probably got it right.
Okay. So
we don't need to go through it again.
What I'm hearing here is that we need like 1970s or 80s style tearaway jerseys.
Absolutely.
Like the NFL style where like, oh, you pulled on that guy's shirt. Well, guess what? It ripped and he kept running.
Yep.
Yeah. Give me Earl Campbell in a tearaway jersey anytime. We're going to talk Tuesday and MLS Next Pro here. Bart, what else is going on with US Soccer for USPOD and everything else in your universe now that 126 has been posted?
We're going to determine if we need to talk this week or not. Obviously, we have matches coming up the second weekend of October, so we do have a few weekends ahead of that, meaning we'll get a roster probably the first week of October. We'll see if we needed to figure out if we want to have the discussion of, because, and this is where, John, I think we talked about this in 126, is the experimenting actually over? Are the trial periods done? And if so, do we even feel comfortable looking at what the depth chart is right now? Because we don't know where these players stand in Pochettino's mind. We know where they stand in our mind, but ultimately how I evaluate a player or how Thomas evaluates a player doesn't matter because we have a guy in Pochettino who's decided to evaluate some players who, I'm just going to be quite frank, didn't deserve call-ups over players who probably did. But that's what his whole thing was, right? He was experimenting or whatever he wanted to say. So if we do record this week or next week, it'll be about depth chart things and looking at where players might be heading into October. It's hard. Again, 23, maybe 26 will make the final World Cup squad. Still feel like we know 15 of them written in pen.
Mm-hmm.
That feels a little shaky at this point, but I feel comfortable that there are about 15 guys who absolutely have a ticket booked. Unfortunately, a couple of those guys, and again, this could change come October. A couple of those guys are guys that I just would not feel comfortable with actually playing in a World Cup, but Pochettino loves them. So discussions will be had either this week or next week on the podcast about the depth charts.
Yep. And I know that we need to next Monday discuss the U20s, considering that kicks off a week from today against New Caledonia. It is New Caledonia a week from today, October 2nd. It is the U.S. and France.
I have a beef with Fox Soccer, John.
Oh?
That game was on FS1.
Okay.
The two games that, no offense to New Caledonia, matter are on Fox Sports FS2, which isn't readily available to everyone with the cable package. So slightly annoying.
Okay, so
slightly annoying.
So it's Monday, New Caledonia.
So don't bitch, Fox, when people start sailing the seas.
Yes. October 2nd, USA France. That is a Thursday. And then the 5th is the Sunday, which is decision day in MLS Next Pro, USA and South Africa in the U20. So next week, in addition to everything else that comes across our bow, we'll talk U20s and see what's going on with them in New Caledonia, because some guy named Luke Brennan is attached to that U20 squad.
Luke Brennan, we obviously Noah Cobb, who Jared, I don't know. You tell me. I think he should be recalled back here after his loan. I think he's proven that he's a pretty decent defender. I think we could maybe make use of him here. I don't know.
Noah?
Granted, I mean, yeah, Noah.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, granted, our defense has just been stellar since we shipped him off.
I don't have the cholesterol for this. I was very confused by that loan deal, simply because, yes, you brought in 2 new center backs.
Mm-hmm.
The one you kept has the potential to be very good, but he was also born with glass bones and paper skin.
Yes. Stian Gregerson.
So the inevitable Stian Gregerson injury leaves you thin as hell. And then you start trying to get cute with it. Yeah, I would love to see Noah back here. I don't know what the whole deal looks like there for them to keep Noah. And I don't know, maybe Atlanta put a big price tag on Noah. Like, hey, it's a loan. I kind of hope that's the case and that he comes back.
Yes. So that'll be something that we keep an eye on coming up in the offseason. But in the interim, U20s next week, cards and calls next week, anything else USMNT. He is the main force behind the Soccer for USPod. Bart, as always, it's great to see you, my friend. Great to walk through all these things and become educated when it comes to epistemological thought patterns and processes and all that kind of stuff. And Philosophy 101 on a Monday, as always. Great to see you, my
Philosophy and theology on a Monday is rough, John. But y'all have a wonderful day.
All right. Be good, my friend. We'll see you soon. And there goes Bart. All right. And so apparently you let us know about this, that Chris Lowe, this has the other football. Apparently, Chris Lowe has now put out the common opponents for the next 4 seasons for SEC football. And let's see, for Georgia, it is Auburn, Florida, and South Carolina. So that seems fairly decent. Like I said, this is according to Chris Lowe. And it is for UAT, Auburn, Tennessee, and Mississippi State. It is Alabama, Georgia, and Vandy for Auburn. Florida gets Georgia, South Carolina, and Kentucky. Riddle me that one. LSU gets Arkansas, Ole Miss, and ATM. Oklahoma gets Missouri, Ole Miss, and Texas. South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and Kentucky. Tennessee gets Alabama, Kentucky, Vandy. Texas gets ATM, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. That makes sense. And the third one for A&M is, what is that? So that's Texas, Missouri, and LSU. Okay, so LSU and Vandy gets Auburn, Tennessee, and Mississippi State. So that's according to Chris Lowe. Apparently tomorrow there's going to be like a really big show on the whole thing on the Four-Letter Network. So they're going to talk about that in depth tomorrow.
Four-Letter Network can kiss my ass. The denying us the LSU Auburn game continues to be one of the greatest crimes the SEC has ever committed, because LSU Auburn is always a delight, because the score will always be something like 21-17, but both teams will get to their respective scores in the most unique way possible. And drunken debauchery, taking away Florida LSU is also kind of weird, but also I don't know that anyone actually enjoys that game. Yep. It's fun for an outsider, but there's no one who, I don't think anyone who's associated with the other program really enjoys that game, just because it's so stressful for everyone, because there's always, it frequently is at least one of these one of these coaches might be leaving town if they lose.
Yes, the loser leave town match, yes.
Surprised to see that they didn't do the Bama LSU game.
Yeah.
Just because that's been a staple for, going on 15, 20 years now.
Yeah, and so we'll see what the hue and cry is from everybody. So obviously, if the show of shows is tomorrow night, then Paul Feinbaum on Wednesday will be must listen to radio. All right. The Twos, when Bart came in, the Twos had a 1-0 lead. And they kept that 1-0 lead in the 13th minute, and there was an opportunity for an equalizer for Crown Legacy in the 29th minute. And so here was that call with Maddie and Jason with the lead up to what could have been an equalizer for Crown Legacy first half on Saturday night.
Wyatt Holt. He'll send it up the right side again. Another good long switch from Wyatt Holt. He picks out Cambridge in the right corner. Cambridge driving on Chongqui. Cambridge, multiple step overs, goes inline. Chongqui cuts that off. Cambridge falls down trying to draw a call, and he gets it. He gets the penalty. Brandon Cambridge with multiple step overs. Chongqui looked like he had him stood up. Masafero and Armas are asking the referee if it's a joke.
It should be a joke, because that's ridiculous. Cambridge with multiple step-overs didn't know what to do. Dominic read it perfectly.
He turns back, and his back is away from goal, and he just falls down. There is very limited contact. That's a horrible call from a referee in a moment where we're talking about a team fighting for its playoff life. To give that call, not facing goal, not going towards goal, just falling down. And Crown Legacy get the penalty. Brandon Cambridge has a habit of that.
They get a gift. Literally a gift. That's it.
He has a habit of falling down to get calls. Atlanta's begging the referee to talk to the AR, or asking the AR to give some input. It's not going to happen. You don't have VAR in MLS Next Pro. So Brandon Cambridge will walk to the spot. He got stood up by Dominic Chongqui, turned away from goal, and fell down at any contact. Don't think there's enough for a penalty there. That is a big decision that has massive ramifications when we talk about the playoff picture in the Eastern Conference.
So that set up a moment, Jarrett, for Jono Ransom to come up big. And he did. Here's how it was with Jake Griffith on the call for Apple TV and MLS Next Pro. Here was the call of what happened next from the broadcast with Atlanta United 2 and Crown Legacy.
A host of bodies. Cambridge squaring off with 17-year-old Ransom. To level it. Stopped by Ransom. The rebound still loose in front. Cambridge would step up. Tries to drive it low on Ransom.
And Jono Ransom, Jarrett, comes up big, 1-0, and that would be the end result after 90 minutes plus. Atlanta United 2 goes on the road, gets another road win, keeps pace with everybody, and that sets up everything coming up in the midweek with Chattanooga going to the Fraction.
Yeah, I mean, it's no matter how this season ends, because, Atlanta's on the outside of the playoff picture looking in, I think 4 points out. I don't care how this ends. If Jose Silva wants that job full time and he does not get it, I need an explanation. Because Steve Clark leaves, and Steve Clark left for a good reason. You know, he got a chance to. He's running things in Lexington.
Steve Cook.
Steve Cook. Excuse Jesus Christ. Sorry, Freudian slip. Steve Clark is still waging his terror campaign against the quality of the sport in Scotland. Yeah, Scotland actually has people who can play now. So God forbid we actually have a manager who wants people to play. Anyway, Steve Cook leaves, goes to Lexington. Fine. Like, I'm happy for Steve. Steve's a good guy. I'm happy for him that he's getting that chance to go run the show in Lexington. And it's a more all-encompassing role. If Jose Silva doesn't get that job and he wants the job full-time, I need to know what happened, because he's been great with this team. They are just and look, the Twos have been scrappy all year. Even early in the season, they were scrapping draws and scrapping wins when they weren't playing at their best. I've talked about before, the second team plays with the amount of cojones that I wish the first team did. And the first team has had a habit this year of rescuing draws to the death. Let's be honest, that's why they're not at the basement of the East, is they were rescuing a point here and there with great moments from Alexei Maranchuk and the like. All that said and done, all that being said, the step forward they have taken when Silva took over as the interim has been noteworthy to me. And they've been great. And full credit to that roster. For one, I'll give it to Javi Armas, because at one point during the middle of the season, the dog days of summer, he gets a penalty and he hands the ball to Patrick Weah. Sometimes you just need to see the ball go in the net, but it feels like since then, Patrick Weah has been great as a striker. He's done it. We talk about it all the time. Like, when you're with the second team, all you can do is go out there and produce and try and get your opportunity, whether it's here or elsewhere, to be a first team player. He's doing that. Now, whether or not his future is here or elsewhere, I don't know. But credit to Patrick Weah, man, because it took him a while to break in and get a lot of time. But he's been fantastic. Last month, 2 months, 3 months. Absolutely brilliant work from Patrick Weah. And good on Javi for that. And that's why Javi's got the armband. That's why he is even though he is younger than all of us, he is a leader with that team. You got to recognize those moments of like, I think they were up like 2-0 at the time, but they had the lead. They were comfortable. Give that penalty to your teammate who needs a boost. We saw Joseph and Miguel Almiron do this at times. In 2018, we saw Joseph hand the ball to Miguel Almiron to get him going at the spot. And he joked after that game of like, I was tired, I didn't want to take it. You help each other, you support each other. And I think that team, the Twos, they support each other really well. Like, it's a good group, but damn, man, they are busting tail right now trying to stay in this picture. And no matter what happens, John, I'm giving the job to Silva if he wants it. And if it goes to someone else and Silva wanted it, I got to know what happened. I got to.
Right now, as things stand, and to your point, here's how it is in conference in MLS Next Pro. Red Bulls 2 are in. We just don't know the where. They're at 55 points. 2 matches to go. Union 2, 52 points, 2 matches to go. Revs 2, 51 points, 2 matches to go, and they have it's the same number of wins as Philadelphia Union, 1 less point. Then the Chase group, Huntsville City, who did Atlanta United to a solid last night by knocking off Orlando City B. Huntsville is at 12 wins, 46 points. Identical record, Chicago Fire 2. Huntsville has a better goal difference, plus 18 to plus 14. 45 points, Chattanooga FC. Chattanooga FC apparently has locked away their offense, and no one knows where the key is, or no one knows the combination to the combination lock. Went 90 minutes yesterday, goalless with Carolina Core. Then they end up and then Core gets the extra point, and PK's winning 6-5. 45 points, Chattanooga FC. They're in. We just don't know the where. They have match in hand. It's the Wednesday match against the Twos, 11 wins. Then Toronto FC 2, 10 wins. They're probably going to be the 7 if they have a matching point total, just because that first tiebreaker is number of wins. 2 wins better than Carolina Core, who are at 38 points and 8 wins. Then NYCFC, 35 points, 9 wins. Orlando City B, 35 points, 9 wins. NYCFC has a better goal difference by 8. Then Atlanta United 2, match in hand, 34 points, 8 wins. And they got their second win on the road on the weekend at 2-6-4, 6-3-4 up at the Fraction. FC Cincinnati 2, they have a mathematical chance. With 3 matches to go, they have a match in hand in the midweek. 6 wins, 25 matches, 32 points. They would need to win out, or just basically if they win 2 of 3 and everybody else craps, then they've got a chance. But they pretty much need to win and run the table, considering they have the least number of wins with 3 matches to go. They need 2 wins at least. 3 wins gets them to 9, and that's your math. So Atlanta United 2, 4 points out, 3 matches to go, match in hand, and Chattanooga comes to town on Wednesday. So there's your math, Jared.
The bottom line is go win.
Yeah. Bottom line is go win.
See what you can make happen. And you'll lament the points you dropped early in the season.
Yep.
Which is something you're always going to be doing when you're in this situation. You can always look back and see what you let go of. But you can't worry about that right now. You have to win these games and see what happens.
Yep. So after Atlanta won 1-0 at Crown Legacy yesterday, Union won 5-2 over Fire. Chattanooga Core we talked about. Red Bulls 2 loses the extra point. They go to 90 minutes, and Inter Miami CF2 gets a token 2-point win, winning 4-2 in PKs. FC Cincinnati 2, 3-1 winners over the Revs. Huntsville a 1-0 win over Orlando City B at Osceola Heritage Park last night. That was the placeholder that we were looking for. Magnus Eck scores with 10 minutes to go. Huntsville City Football Club gets the win there. And so that's your layout for the future right now for Atlanta United 2. Regular season home finale, and NYCFC 2, that was on the 14th. Why does it always go back an extra week? So that was the last game in the Eastern Conference, was Huntsville over Orlando City B. Late night out west, Dynamo Dos over Portland Timbers 3-1. The Town shut out Ventura County 4-0. Rapids 2 over Tacoma Defiance by the score of 4-1. So that sets up the Western Conference. Right now, the West, St. Louis City 2, all caps 2. 2 matches. They've got 2 matches to go. They have a match. They've played 1 more match than the Town. They are 11 points clear. The Town has 3 matches to go. So St. Louis City 2 at 60 points. They're the 1. They've won the West, and they've got top seed. The Town with the win, 49 points. Rapids 2 in at 48. Once again, just don't know the math. Where they're in, don't know where. Real Monarchs at 45 points, in, don't know where. Whitecaps 2, 42 points, 11 wins. North Texas, 40 points, 10 wins. Loons 2, 38 points, 10 wins. Same as Ventura County. They have a margin of 2 goals to the good in goal difference for the 7 and the 8. That's your playoff bar. Los Verdos, 38 points, 9 wins, and that's why they're in 9th. Dynamo Dos at 37 points, they're in 10th. LAFC 2 and Timbers 2 at 32 points. They each have 2 matches to go, mathematically alive, but that's it. 32 points, 9 wins for LAFC, 32 points, 8 wins for the Timbers. Tacoma Defiance eliminated at 30 points after last night. They're at 26 matches, 30 points. And Sporting Kansas City 2, 3-17, 6-2. That is your rundown of who's in, who's out, and what's at stake. The West get-in is crazy, and it will continue to do so. Once again, we should be able to catch up with Jose Silva tomorrow. That will be in the Wednesday show. We'll also catch up with a player. That'll be in the Wednesday. That'll be in Wednesday's show. Like I said, we are efforting Chris Nugent, the head coach at Chattanooga FC, and we will obviously, if we can plot that, then we can have the big preview of anything and everything that is Chattanooga FC and Atlanta United 2. Big, 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 big. Cannot impress upon you that it is this big. It is big. Big, blank, and big. Like I said, we're waiting to see if we can get Chris Nugent on for the Wednesday show as a bit of a preview for that whole thing. Okay. Let me say hi to everybody. I haven't had the chance to say hi to everybody here this morning. So let me welcome all of you who came in today. Morning, David. And yes, thank you for reminding us, David, about Abe's chicken nugget story. Morning, Abby. Morning, Ropes. And I mean, Abby, yeah, it is frustrating where everybody talks about a lot of other things, but they don't talk about the twos. But that's why we're here, because we're going to be up the twos and talking about them a lot, as we always do. So let's see. There's Ropes and Morning 4 card. Yeah, Abby, 3 hat tricks in 3 games for LAFC. Morning Catalucci, welcome in. Let's see. Wiley, true about the idea and the chair. No doubt about it. Yeah, if they sold the shaky knees, if they sold the shaky knees triangle sit down chair with the logo, that'd be right there with it. So let's see. So Abby and Ropes, and let's see if I'm missing anybody. Like I said, I'm spinning through everything. Yes, it is Wednesday night. Wednesday night. I can't say it enough. Wednesday night, Atlanta United 2 and Chattanooga FC. It is 7:30 kick. So 7:33 kick. That's going to be on MLSNextPro.com. So 7:33 kick at the Fraction. We'll have pregame at 7 o'clock. It'll be me, Maddie, and Jason, Cast the Thousands, and we'll walk you through that one. But basically, as Jarrett said, you got to win. Win, win, win. That's it. Just win, keep winning, and you're good. So you've got 6 wins at home this season. You got your second win on the road on Saturday at Matthews. Chattanooga's playing for position in the Eastern Conference playoffs. But like I said, their offense has been out the door for a little while. So hang on just a second. Let me get because I think it was mentioned that it was a good what? Holiday Inn Club, suspected spam caller. Good work. Okay, so that's the beauty of having a thing on your wrist now. All right, so here is the offense. So Core and Chattanooga, that was goalless. They scored 4 on Crown Legacy, 1 on Huntsville, 1 on Core, 2 on OCB, and 1 on TFC2, 1 against Crown Legacy. And so it's kind of hot and cold where they are concerned. And on the road versus being at home, Chattanooga has scored a lot. They've scored more goals on the road than they have at home. That's crazy. Their offense kicks in better when they're on the road. Don't tell Chattanooga that. So that's where we are with Chattanooga FC as they get ready to come down to the Fraction, and big matchup Wednesday. Big. I cannot impress upon you how big it is. Most of you who are here know how big it is. But 39 goals scored this season for Chattanooga FC, and they've only allowed 35, in the same range with Atlanta. Atlanta scored 38. And so they've only given up 39. So let's take the tour really quickly. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. And obviously keeping an eye on the Ballon d'Or and that ceremony once again. Keep an eye early afternoon here in the eastern part of the United States, and we'll find out who wins the Ballon d'Or. Ligue 1 on BN at 2 o'clock. Millwall and Watford in the championship. CBS Sports Network at 3. BN and Español is simulcasting, as is ESPN Deportes. Gold TV has the Portuguese League Sporting and Moreirense at 3:15. Probably our buddy Nino Torres is calling that. Peruvian Primera Sport Boys and Atletico Grau is at 8:30. Paramount Plus simulcasting Millwall Watford and Serie A Napoli and Pisa. Women's side, Liga MX Femenil, Monterrey Pachuca is at 10 on TUDN. DAZN USA has the German Frauen Bundesliga. Eintracht Frankfurt and RB Leipzig is at noon. College activity today. It is 5 men's matches. Mercyhurst Pitt, Charlotte and Furman, Liberty Wake, Cal Irvine, Cal Baptist, Denver and Seattle on ACC Extra, the Plus, ACC Extra, the Plus, and the Plus. So 5 matches, all on the men's side, all after 7 o'clock Eastern time. It appears Golasso Network is offering red carpet coverage of the Ballon d'Or starting at 2 o'clock. Kate Scott, Ruud Gullit hosting the ceremonies beginning at 3 at the Théâtre du Châtelet in Paris. So really quick before we go, once again, if you don't have Fanati's, ftz.co/soccer down here, you can pick that up, add to your streaming services. You get all the BNs. You get Nuestro Telesitio for the fans, TC, TVV, Liga 1, Liga 1 Max Pro. You get the Argentine League. You get a lot of the other South American leagues as well, and the competitions that are there, and you can add tiers to it. But use the code soccer down here 15 at checkout. I mean, use the ftz.co/soccer down here is Fanati. So I was getting our kickoff coffee blended with our Fanatis. Although you could probably sit down with one and watch the other. ftz.co/soccer down here helps you out with your streaming, helps us out, helps them out as well with their subscribers, and it widens our base of knowledge when it comes to everything going on around the planet. Olive in York, you can get our jersey for Soccer for Good. Thanks to our friends at Kaiser Permanente. You can get that navy jersey, personalization either in white or in the lighter blue, the Carolina blue, Columbia blue, double blue, whatever you want to call it. And please consult Alex and Abby for personalization and what works best for you. Helps out our Soccer for Good campaign here in 25. Also helping out the Soccer for Good campaign is our friends at Grady Baby. The Soccer is Just Better in Atlanta gear, the red, the black, the T-shirt, and the sweatshirt, gold embossed phrasing. It is Grady. It is a SDH logo on one cuff, Grady Baby logo on the other cuff. And what you get to do there is help out middle school soccer programs attached to the Atlanta Public School System with your purchase of that through Grady Baby. Also, you can become a Fanatico for $10 a year, help out our Soccer for Good campaign that way. You can be a part of our community on the Chant app, and you get a lot of cool discounts at a lot of cool independent breweries and another couple of places. Tires Plus, Lloyd Soccer Shop, you get Atlanta United discounts that are there. Pubs that are associated, the Moxie Hotel in Midtown, and it's $10 a year to be a Fanatico, and you can go through the Chant app there, and you can be a part of the conversations that are posted there on a daily basis when it comes to match days, all the things that are there with the Chant app being a Fanatico here on the SDH network. I think that's it for today. Once again, yes. And Abby, does Ronaldinho presenting mean that, maybe? I don't know. Oh, and yes. Oh, absolutely true. Ropes. Yes. Definitely. Thank you for the reminder. Yes. Soccer over there is tonight. From the Brew House. If you want to go see Jason at the Brew House, you can go see Jason at the Brew House. I think a lot of us will be joining virtually. I will be joining virtually for Picks of the Week. So 8 o'clock, soccer over there, back here to discuss all the things, probably including Ballon d'Or. And so SOT, 8 o'clock, 8 to 10, Picks of the Week start at about 9:30. And so we'll have that tonight. So Jason will be at the Brew House tonight at 8 for a soccer over there, and it will be week 2 of the return. SOT strikes back, and it's going to be tonight. So yes. Soccer over there tonight, 8 o'clock live. Or you can join Jason at the Brew House. So, yes. Del, that's interesting. Morning, by the way. I don't know. Maybe it would be Lamine Yamal winning. I don't know. Maybe that's just a swerve, but we'll see what happens. So, Abby, yes, enjoy Shana Tova and enjoy tomorrow. And we'll see you when you return here on Wednesday or Thursday. So that's another go-round of SDH AM. Remember, we're going to have another episode of The Roots coming up, and we get to catch up with our friends from Mjölby in Sweden, town of less than 2,000. And they're about to win the top division in their country. So we're going to get that story, and that'll be posted on the Roots, and we'll have highlights and things that are going to be attached to all of that coming up on all the social medias and things like that. So once again, thanks to all of you for hanging out with us as you always do. Tomorrow, it'll be KCD, Casey White joining us, Jason Stevens joining us about everything going on, and it will be probably some sound from a Mjölby interview as well, and anything else that wanders into the door. So that's our Tuesday here on SDH. It's all good. It's 8. Dell, inspect the home. That's got to be good. By the way, probably tomorrow I'll let you know. We were supposed to have a toilet installed early before the show started at 9. It didn't happen. That's why you didn't hear any noise. That's opening kickoff for tomorrow. Thanks again, everybody, for dropping by, as you always do. Mucha plot to y'all. Play it safe. And since it is the end of the show, for everybody here at SDH, I'm just John. SOT tonight at 8. See you then.